All right. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Red and Charlie show. That's what we're going to call it.
Yeah, what's up?
My name is Robert, but you can call me Red. And sitting across from me is the triple threat known as Charlie Schmidt.
But you can call me Charlie.
Classic. And today, it's kind of late in the week, but we are talking about Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
The movie that nobody asked for because nobody wanted it.
I'm glad we're doing a little late because it's marinated in my mind a little more. Mm-hmm. And it's changed the way I've thought about it. We haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah. What was your first impression?
Originally, I gave it a C.
Mm-hmm.
And now I give it a B-.
So it's gone up.
It went up. Yeah.
Because I think for me, it has stayed at about a C-ish.
Okay.
It's an utterly forgettable movie.
Yeah.
I almost completely forgot everything about this film until there's a guy named Mahler. He puts out like Star Wars and Avengers critiques.
Okay.
And his came out today, and I watched that one, and I was like, that's right, that happened in there. So I had to refresh myself for this. But yeah, utterly forgettable. I didn't feel like this was a Star Wars movie, I guess is the biggest complaint that I had.
And that's so crazy because most people say this is the most that it's felt like a Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. But I thought you were going to go lower than a C. I'm actually shocked you gave it that much credit.
Which is actually really interesting because in the last episode that we recorded about Infinity War, I remember saying I wanted it to sail underneath that $100 million mark, which it came really, really close to.
Yes.
Because as of yesterday, it was only at $110 million. Domestically.
Worldwide? Oh, domestic, yeah.
Worldwide, I think it's like 170 or something like that.
So it's just looking at an article that said, overall, its opening weekend, it made $84 million domestically. Maybe not counting the Memorial Day.
Yeah, because that's kind of weird because it's like, now it's opening up on Thursday. So that's technically another day.
Count
but
that.
Do they count that?
Yeah,
one?
they do. But without Memorial Day, it made $84 million. Deadpool 2 in its opening weekend made $125 million. So the article was, how shocked are the creators of Deadpool 2 that they opened something bigger than
Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy about it.
Right.
I really want every Star Wars movie to just make millions and millions of dollars and everything because I love the franchise so much. But, and we'll talk about that later if you know anything about Kathleen Kennedy, the current president of Lucasfilms.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later in kind of like spoilery territory. But because of the way they're running it, that's why I wanted the movie to fail. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think that this movie failed because it was like a direct reaction from the fans because of The Last Jedi. And what Rian Johnson did with that movie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's like 1/3 of it. I also think, we haven't gone 5 months without a Star Wars movie. Like, that's too much.
See, and people are blaming it on Star Wars fatigue, which I don't think is the case. Because you saw it with Black Panther just came out several months ago. And then Infinity War was the biggest movie ever. Is like the second coming.
That's a good point. I mean, I was excited to see Solo. So that wasn't like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to go see it.
Another Star Wars
I was excited
movie.
to see it. And if it would have been the coolest, greatest thing...
Mm-hmm.
we'd be having a way different conversation right now, I guess. So so scratch that.
Scratch that excuse off the list.
But also, it wasn't a story that people wanted to see. I don't feel.
No.
I don't think
like
we
you
needed
said,
to know.
nobody wanted this.
I would have preferred a completely original, unconnected Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
That would have blown me away.
Like a movie about just Woody Harrelson and his crew doing something would have been fine because this movie, the biggest problem with it is that it's the Han Solo fan film of the year. And where am I going with this point?
I don't know.
Jeez. Brain's gone right now. It's an utterly forgettable sci-fi movie because Alden Ehrenreich actually did an okay job of doing scoundrel pirate guy in the future.
Right.
Not Han Solo.
Say his name again.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Because I wrote my notes that says Adrian Igridge.
Adrian Igridge is Han Solo.
That's another strike against that guy. You can't even say his name.
Can't even say his dang name. Yeah, he has a really hard name to say. But, like, he did a good job of just being bland, generic sci-fi character. I never bought him as Han Solo.
No,
ever.
but if you would have called him another name, I'd be like, that guy's pretty cool.
I'd have been like, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you would have just done a movie about them trying to rob a train or trying to rob the casino from The Last Jedi or something like that. We don't ever want to. We don't talk about the casino. If it was just a regular heist movie, because that was the good part of the movie where they're like, you got to get a fast ship and you got to get the codes and you got to get the fuel and everything. That was fun when it picked up. Mm-hmm. But it's just a meh of a movie. It's like, demonstrated by me almost completely forgetting the entire movie, like when I left.
Right.
And if you would have put this up on the Sci-Fi Channel and not called it Star Wars and not been Han Solo or Chewie or anything like that, it would have just been a whatever movie. Yeah. And you're kind of seeing that with the Rotten Tomato ratings.
Yeah. 71% overall, but the audience downvotes it to 63% without the critics' consensus.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
And 63 is probably right on par for.
Yeah, around the like mid-60 range for this.
Yeah, because you can't... A movie can't be successful of even the people that don't dislike it, but just being like, I'm surprised it was kind of good. That can't be successful.
Yeah, I know. That's the worst thing. It's you either want people to be like, that's the greatest movie ever, or I really liked it, or you want them to be like, that sucks, I hate it. Because at least it's eliciting some kind of reaction out of people. Mm-hmm. This one is getting that dreaded, you never want to hear it from anybody about anything.
Right.
Meh, it was a movie. Mm-hmm. Like, if they put that on the Han Solo, or Solo, a Star Wars story, and the tagline was, it's a movie.
Right. It would have been cooler if they used that script, turned it into some original character, and then that dude shows up in episode 9.
Yeah.
And then they would be doing the Marvel universe building. But they're not even trying. They're not succeeding.
They're trying to do the Marvel world building.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that scene a little bit later on in the spoilers, but like, I guess, do you want to go into spoilers for this? Because like, we've kind of talked a little bit about it. Like, we'll talk about the reaction, because we were just talking before we started recording that...
No.
The cat is there eating.
Oh. All right, hold on.
Oh, wait.
The hungry boy. You're a hungry boy. No, he needs to eat. He's a growing boy.
Did he take all of his food out of his dish?
No, we don't even put it in there because he likes it better on the floor.
I don't understand that about cats.
Like he's an urchin. Just eat off the floor. I don't even know why we have a bowl there.
That's what our cats do. Especially little Bobby. She'll grab a mouthful of the wet cat food, take it out, put it on the kitchen table,
Really?
And then she'll eat it. Yeah.
Does she have a collar too?
No, I don't think any of our cats have worn collars before.
See, I feel like he doesn't like a bowl because it hits the edge of the... But I don't know. I've never seen a cat grind it up too. There's little crumbs all over because he chews it so much. And then he has it in like his chin.
Oh yeah, you can always tell when they've been in the food because they got that sort of Cheeto dust color on their face.
Yeah, especially on a black cat. And then sometimes he comes out of the litter box with that on his face, too. I'm like, what were you doing?
I don't like that when the cats get on my bed and they, like, flick their feet and stuff like that. They're just in the cat box.
This is the Red and Charlie Cat Show.
Yeah. Everything you need to know about owning a cat.
Yeah.
The best paper towels for cleaning up a mess after your cat. Yeah. Ugh.
No, the best paper towel is to just lay over it and let somebody else deal with it.
Yeah, pretend like you didn't see it, and then somebody else will clean it up. So.
That's not what I do. Last time Artemis threw up, he just ate all of it, and nobody spoke of it again.
That's another thing. Get a dog, so then you've got something that makes a mess and something that cleans it up.
Does a dog eat cat throw up?
Yes.
We're getting a dog.
And dog also eats dog. The dog will throw it up themselves and then be like... and then eat it.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Animals are disgusting.
And I couldn't keep him away because I didn't know where the paper towels were because it just moved
Stay
in.
away from that.
He's like, stop. Every time I ran, like, did a lap, more of it was gone. I was like, okay, well, I guess we're cool here.
For you.
I guess we're good.
Okay. So what the hell were we talking about?
Shoot.
The fan reaction. So the fan reaction, we were talking about that before we started recording.
Right.
And I said that I had seen mostly negative, and you said you had seen a lot of positive.
Yeah.
Where were you seeing that? Because like I said, I was on YouTube, and I was seeing, I guess YouTube is just a den of negativity
right.
towards Star Wars right now.
There's a geek tyrant, and I saw a comicbook.com, just like in the comic sections, like people were either surprised or they really liked it, and it's weird because I can't relate to anybody.
You can't. You're just in the middle.
I don't really
somewhere?
dislike it, and I don't really like it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was enjoyable enough to up my grade a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, like what with the whole boycott and everything like that. Like I don't know how much of a impact that the boycott Han Solo movie had on this.
Yeah. Have you heard?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, it's just that, like, I know that. I don't know what China is going to do with this movie, because I know they called it, like, Ranger Solo or something.
Oh, really?
They changed it, and the whole joke was that they did it to just trick an entire nation into going to go see a Star Wars movie. But, I mean, yeah, it's a whatever movie. The rating I would give it is probably, like, 5 parsecs out of 10. What would you
go
give it?
7.
7?
Yeah. 8, 9, 10 would be way up. That means I'd liked it.
Well, that's the...
But I will never watch that movie again.
No.
From start to finish, I will never watch it again.
No, just watch the Mahler review. It's pretty fun.
Like, I will watch it on a Saturday afternoon, and maybe I'll catch the first
if you're in a full body cast and you can't reach the remote.
Right, if I break both of my legs. And I'm at home for a month of my life.
And the only thing that's on are these new Star Wars movies.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's the worst thing that you can say about it. I kind of watched a little bit of The Force Awakens. That was on, and I was flipping through channels, so I'd flip back and forth between that and everything, and just catching a little bit of it. And actually, these newer Star Wars movies, well, like The Last Jedi and Solo and everything, have made me kind of sort of appreciate The Force Awakens a little bit more, because it is much higher quality made than the other movies that are coming out.
Right.
And I mean, Rogue One, I still need to rewatch that one because I have only seen that one once.
I really, really like Rogue One.
It's got some good action in it.
It does.
Which I can't really say for Solo. This one, I don't think it had very good action in it.
You know, the only part I can think of is him doing the run.
Yeah. And I was nodding in and out on that
Were
part.
you really?
I wasn't even tired when we went to this movie. I was
clutching my armrest like, oh my God.
Because I was just kind of like, oh man, there's a Star Destroyer right there. That's a cool image. And then I'd fade out and then I'd wake up and then there's these tentacle things. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I'd wake up again and then it was, well, here's your spoilers and everything. We're going right into it. And then that thing is like getting sucked into a black hole and like its skin is getting ripped off and everything. And I'm like, what is this movie? And which is weird because that's what the Kessel Run is now, is like to get through that shipping lane through the space cloud of death.
Yeah, I don't know if I was talking to both of you about that after we saw the movie, but I was like, what was that?
Which is kind of...
And why do those clouds only like vortex in those certain
certain areas? Yeah.
But then I just released it.
Just go with it.
There's no way I'm gonna think about this anymore in my life.
Because the weird thing is, like, the Kessel Run, the whole idea about the parsecs is that George Lucas didn't know exactly what a parsec was. He's just like, it's a space thing, and I know it has something to do with travel, maybe time. I don't know. We'll put that in there. So it was that Han Solo was like, it made the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs. God, people are gonna crucify me for not remembering that.
Which is funny because I just typed it in, and the definition is a unit of distance used in astronomy equal to about 3.26 light years.
Oh shit! Maybe George Lucas was smarter than all of us.
Yeah. So 14 would be, do the math, that many light years. See, you tune in and you learn things.
You learn things from the Red and Charlie show.
You learn that maybe if you're really bored, you should go see Solo, and you also learn about units of distance in astronomy.
You're welcome.
Yes. What do you think? Switching gears,
yes,
to about Donald Glover as Lando.
Okay, so the whole big thing about Alden Ehrenreich or Adrian Emilio Fontes, what did you write?
Or Abbott, I'm a Grinch.
Yeah, that guy. Is that apparently Alden was one of the very first ones that they interviewed for who went for the casting call.
Right.
And apparently, I guess maybe Kathleen Kennedy or somebody, they were just like, just go with that guy. Which is strange because there's a young guy. He's probably not young. He's probably about my age, probably around 30 or so. I can't remember his name. I'll probably put it in the description of this one. But he did a spot-on impersonation of Han Solo.
Okay.
So much so that they cast him as young Harrison Ford in a movie called Flowers for Adeline, something like that.
Okay.
And I thought he did a really good job, but you could definitely tell it was an impersonation and everything.
Right.
And, you know, Alden didn't... He didn't seem like he was trying to even be Harrison Ford or Han Solo.
Yeah,
he was just dude Mick action face.
Right.
And his smirk, I don't know about you, but that smirk he did in every scene was getting on my nerves.
See, and I didn't pay too much attention to him because his
somebody left their phone on.
I didn't pay too much attention to him because he was sharing the screen with one of the most sexy stars of Hollywood.
So you thought you liked
Chewbacca.
Oh, Chewbacca.
Oh, what?
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, that's
well,
right.
if we're talking about that, we'll get back to Donald Glover in a second. What did you think about the Han Solo Chewbacca shower scene?
Oh yeah, that's a real thing.
a thing. Yeah, you forgot about that.
I totally forgot about it, or did I consciously block it from my mind?
Yep. You're welcome for bringing it back.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in spoilers about how they met, which I didn't really like, but
yeah, Donald Glover. He was doing an impersonation of Billy D. Williams.
A good one too.
He was doing a good one.
Yeah,
I thought it felt really distracting.
Really,
to see him doing those mannerisms and everything, because the guy that played young Harrison Ford in that movie, he looked like Harrison Ford.
Right.
Donald Glover does not look like Billy D. Williams.
No, he doesn't.
With his weird, like, high top thing that he's got going on with his hair.
And not that many years passed.
No.
For little boy Lando and then man Lando.
Yeah, I don't know, because the timelines for all these things are so screwy. I don't even know when this is actually happening, how many years before. But, like, I think he was on the Jimmy Kimmel show. And he was talking to him about how if you abbreviated his name, Don Glover, and you put it together, it spells Don Lover. So that's a whole thing.
You gotta embrace that.
Yeah.
Some kids made fun of him.
Yep.
You just gotta laugh at it. Just like my name's Charlie Schmidt. You work that out.
Yep.
You work that one.
Kids are mean.
I thought he was great. Like, I loved it. But I should have openly admitted this right at the top of this conversation. I'm not as big of a Star Wars lover as you are.
Yes.
So there's things I'm more forgiving on.
Yeah.
I can't recall Billy D. Williams' performance, but you probably have it etched in your mind.
Dude, Billy D. Williams, all I see when he's on the screen is Colt 45 malt liquor. That guy, that's all I see. Man got a raw deal with the whole franchising thing from George Lucas. That's another deal.
But now they're talking about a Lando movie, of course, because Donald Glover is blowing up right now.
It's just, and he has to thank for that. This Is America as well, coming out and being like 10 trillion hits on YouTube, and now of course they're gonna make him into the Lando movie, which I don't know what how this movie goes out. It's like Han Solo, the fan film. How does Han Solo become Han Solo? Right. The Lando movie is going to be, how does Lando become Lando in Empire Strikes Back? Right. How does he broker those deals so he can get to Bespin and Cloud City?
Right. Which they made jokes about, like, him dissing on mining, planets and things like that.
So they're seeding it.
Yes.
It's in there.
And that's, the more I thought about it, and that's why my rating kind of went up, because I didn't realize how clever some of the tie-ins were. Just really subtle. But the thing that never will push it above a B-, C+, is that some of the tie-ins, or some of the jokes or origins, were so stupid.
Yes.
Some were so clever, and then the others were just so forced and so stupid. So that's kind of a big thing that ruined it for me, was how he got the name Solo and
God, all right, let's, because that's this whole movie. We'll just, I think, did we go into spoilers or whatever? This is spoilers warning, because we're just going straight into it. So it's a lot of people. Something I even leveled this criticism at The Force Awakens was that it was a fan film. And which it is, because
any Star Wars movie at this point is a fan film.
Yeah. But we said that because J.J. Abrams was like, we're a fan, we're going to make this, we're going to make it the way it used to be made, all of these things.
Right.
But that movie is actually more of a copy of an original than this one is a fan film. Because I've watched probably hundreds of Star Wars fan films doing this, because I was working on some other Star Wars stuff of my own way back when, and I watched a whole bunch of fan films that people had made, and this is exactly like it, because we took everything that Han Solo said, any throwaway line that was in the original trilogy, and we turned it into, what's his story?
Right.
He mentioned Carillion cruisers, like so now he's from Corellia, and then he grew up on Corellia, and then it's like, oh crap, how did he meet Chewbacca? We figure out how he meets Chewbacca,
which I didn't like that either.
No.
What, Chewbacca's just in a hole murdering people?
Apparently, I guess it's kind of a callback to when he was in Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
If you remember that scene where Han just comes out and he's got carbonite poisoning or whatever he's got, and then Chewie's in there with him too. It's kind of a callback to that.
Yeah.
But any stupid thing that you can think of that they would want to put in this, or about Han Solo, is in this movie.
Right.
How does he get his blaster? How does he get his vest? How does he get the Millennium Falcon?
How he got the blaster was way cooler than just making his actual name a pun.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Which, that was way cooler. Woody Harrelson was like, nah, here you go, here's a gun I don't want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn it, that's...
At least that's something that would just normally naturally happen.
Probably just happen, exactly.
As opposed to like, oh, I'm by myself, I guess my name is... Solo. Winkety wink.
Yeah, some asshole at a recruiting station just in the name Solo.
Yeah, that's great.
Which actually is kind of interesting, because the guy is asking him, what's your name? He says, my name's Han. He's like, well, what's your full name? What are your people? And Han's like, I'm all alone. I have no people. and then the recruiter's like, Han, no people. Solo. And you can just see him on his face. He's like, that's a good one.
So dumb. And then you can see it on Ron Howard's face.
Yes. Because Ron Howard's like, fuck, I gotta get this movie done. Because those other two guys got fired, and now I've got like a month to do this movie.
Budget's $250 million. It still hasn't even made its budget back.
It's probably going to be the first Star Wars movie that doesn't make its money back in the theaters.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
They're probably going to dump this thing pretty quick.
You think so? You don't think they'll let it marinate for suckers like me that are like,
I wonder if I forgot anything about that movie.
But, I mean, there are so many positive comments that I would guess it has slight legs this next weekend.
Yeah,
I bet it'll drop 70%.
It's going to drop hard.
Oh, yeah. Brutally hard.
But just to go back and throw out the GEEK credentials and everything there, in one of the original versions of the Star Wars treatment, what George Lucas used to do is that he would just make up crazy ass names, and he would just put them all together because he loved like Flash Gordon and all, E. Smith, which is like the Lensman series and everything, and he loved the way they named things. So he would just sit down and he'd be like Bail Organa, Chub Tooth Thorax and stuff, and then
wait a minute, let me write that. I want people to call me Chub Tooth Thorax.
Chub Tooth Thorax. There you go. That's your Star Wars name, Charlie. And one of them was actually Han Solo of the Hubble people. And somebody told me, they were like, maybe they knew about that, and that's why they put in "what are your people" sort of thing. I was like, I don't know if that's giving them too much credit or not. But
yeah. I've never heard of like how much of a fan Ron Howard is of the series. Have you read anything about that?
Okay, so for Ron Howard, like, I was discussing this with a friend at work, and I was like, yeah, Ron Howard made, what movies did he make? Because I remember he made, The Heart of the Sea, the one where it was Chris Hemsworth, and it was basically the story of Moby Dick. Mm-hmm. And then
Spider-Man.
After that, I was like, well, there was Andy Griffith, and then that movie, and then, like, 50 years in between there. He must have been doing something.
He made Apollo 11.
I completely forgot about that.
And that's the only one I can name off the top of my head.
Maybe Ron Howard is just the forgettable type and everything, and he might kind of see that in this movie.
It's just so weird that they jumped from Chris Lord. Is that right?
Oh, Lord and Miller.
Yeah, Chris Lord and Phil Miller. It's just such a weird jump.
And they were pissed that, at least John Kasdan was pissed. I don't know about anybody else. I know Kathleen Kennedy fired them. Mm-hmm. But John Kasdan was pissed that Lord and Miller were turning his screenplay into a comedy.
Well, you know, it's weird because I just read today an article that said they were actually making it too dark.
Really?
Yes, and that's what Kathleen Kennedy got pissed about.
Huh.
They were making it way too gritty. Like, they were like, this is the underworld. And she was like, no,
Sounds like they were making a way better movie.
I know, wouldn't that be crazy?
Which is crazy because they were hot off of the Lego movies. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Disney and Kathleen Kennedy, I don't know who is picking the directors for these movies.
Right.
They are making weird decisions for who they're going to do. They should have just said, JJ, I know you don't like to stay on projects for extended amount of times, but you are doing episode 7, 8, and 9.
Right.
You can't go anywhere. It's like, so give us your treatments and everything, but now we're getting this weird flow of everything. And now we're having people like Gareth Edwards, who did Godzilla, and which is fine. That was a decent movie, and I think he did a good job with it. But like, they're just giving the franchise, not just a big franchise, the franchise in Hollywood, to just random people that they think are doing a good job.
I don't understand. I don't understand with the DCEU. I don't understand with what's going on with this. How do they not replicate the formula of Marvel? It's right there. All the fans can see it.
And it's the Disney formula. Just about every Disney animated movie is exactly the same, but they come out, everybody loves them, and they're almost all instant classics. Mm-hmm. And like, Star Wars has had legs for the past 40-something years, 41 years, I think, this year. Mm-hmm. And it's because, for as much crap people give George Lucas, he had his vision, he knew what he was doing, and he gave it time. time is the most important thing.
Especially with this.
Especially with this.
Yeah.
And now they're just like, we need a movie every year, bang, 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 bang. We're on this 2-year cycle of put them in, make a movie, and like right now, J.J. Abrams was just brought back in for episode 9, and they're like, J.J., you gotta fix this.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'll write a script up. And
which is, even if they wanted to have different directors, why didn't J.J. have a treatment for the entire trilogy, and then they had to follow that? Instead of, what's his douche coming in?
Yeah.
Who directed the second one?
Ryan Johnson.
Yes. Letting him come in and make the big decisions on the overall arc of the plot.
Yeah.
Which led it into weird directions and looked like it just pissed all over what JJ set up.
Yeah, he did everything that JJ set up. JJ set up for, I'm not going to say a home run, but or at least a run to first base.
Right.
But like,
it is the second.
He just ground it right there, everything. And he openly mocked the fans who are saying, "Why did you kill Snoke?
Yeah.
Why did you kill Luke?"
Yeah.
And he would put stuff up on Twitter and Facebook, and he basically called people sexist or homophobes and stuff like that. It's like, dude, you don't know what's going on, man.
Yeah. I guess that's just the Hollywood ego. Like, he got there and he just did not. Like James Gunn is so perfect of a sane, creative type.
Yes.
That hits the big time and he sticks to the material and he knows what he wants to do. He wants to tell that story. Just like George Lucas. And probably J.J. Abrams in the long... Well, J.J. Abrams has never followed through on an intriguing story.
God.
I watched Lost.
Okay. I got to like season 4 or 5 of Lost, and I was like, I'm lost on this. I don't need this anymore. You heard what happened with that. This is J.J. Abrams, Red and Charlie show where we talk about J.J. Abrams, where basically J.J. Abrams and Damon Lindelof got on and they wrote the pilot.
Oh, right.
And JJ was like, man, yeah, and there could be a secret underground bunker, and then there's people on the other side of the island and a smoke monster and polar bears.
Right.
And then they film it, and then he's like, all right, Damon, you got it from here.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Have fun, guys.
So
make it work. And then we all end up in a church and nobody really understood what happened. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched the 37 seasons of Lost that there are. But yeah, I guess to really talk about the bigger picture of Star Wars, and we'll get back to Han Solo, but you can't talk about Solo in like a vacuum anymore.
Right.
Because I think Ryan Johnson knew exactly what he was doing, and there's actually an interesting theory about that Ryan Johnson tanked this on purpose. I wish, because as soon as I came to that theory, I know everybody else on the internet has like come up with that theory, but when I came up with that before I'd heard anybody else say it, I was like, oh man, he's a genius.
So he's just like a kamikaze World War II pilot.
He's the biggest troll. He's gonna take. He's the biggest Star Wars fan out of all of them, and he's like, I gotta take this thing down now before they ruin it even worse.
Wow.
But I know that's not true, because he's sticking to his guns on this stuff. And the problem is that when you get somebody like Kathleen Kennedy, and this is where we get into like politics, because nobody wants politics in Star Wars. They made that very clear from the prequels.
Yes.
They're like, we don't want space politics, but now our real world politics are coming in and crashing into Star Wars. And people are trying, you saw it with L3 in this one, the droid in this.
She's very opinionated. But that was the beauty of the original ones. They started in the late 70s, early 80s. That's when people wanted to escape all the bullshit.
And don't you think that's what we need right now?
That's exactly what we need, and that's why Deadpool and Marvel are taking us to other planets, and we're eating it up.
We love it. It's amazing.
Give it.
And this coming from a guy who likes to write about politics and stuff in his writing, but not in Star Wars.
Not my summer movie theater, man.
No, sir.
Keep it out.
And in the original Star Wars, obviously that was based off of the U.S. in Vietnam and everything, and some shades of World War II in there from when George grew up. But now you've got identity politics that's coming into the mix.
Right.
And basically shoving off the people who have been fans of this franchise for 40 years and basically saying, we don't like you, we don't want you in here. And it's not made any better by Kathleen Kennedy wearing her shirt that says the Force is feminist, and she's trying
What?
to...
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that.
She is pushing her feminist social justice warrior agenda on Star Wars.
No, I know that came through with L337.
And people are saying that that might actually be a holdover from Lord and Miller making a commentary on Star Wars itself and Kathleen Kennedy.
Okay.
Which would be interesting if it's actually true.
And that would be certainly their MO, like one of their silly caricatures.
Because it was so over the top with that character.
But you know what? It's weird because A, that annoyed me, but B, I liked her origin story of how she incorporated into the Millennium Falcon. I thought that was cool.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I really did.
Oh, God, no. Because it messes everything up. Now that character is a part of every other Star Wars movie now.
That's
that
right.
The Millennium Falcon was in.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Ron Howard impregnated all the Star Wars movies.
Ron Howard.
With his crazy balding
bastard.
seed.
Yeah. Because for some reason, Lando's sex robot. I don't know what to call her.
Yeah, that's weird that they had like a relationship.
And we'll get into that. But she had the greatest navigational computer inside of her for some reason.
Right.
I don't know why Lando didn't just put that in the Millennium Falcon instead of letting his droid put it in there. But that's one of those things.
The other thing nobody's ever talked about that I've seen is Clint Howard made his cameo in his brother's movie, as he always does.
See, because I've heard about that. Who was he?
He was like the dude that L337 was threatening at the robot fights.
Oh, that was him?
Yes.
Jeez. Well, I guess it's kind of like how James Gunn puts his brother in Guardians.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And Clint Howard has been in every Ron Howard movie ever.
That's dedication right there.
And I forgot I was watching a Ron Howard movie because I went to see a Star Wars movie, which I never thought I'd be seeing.
Associating Ron
Howard Star Wars movie.
Ron Howard, the Star Wars story.
Yeah, and then his brother popped up, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's awesome!"
It brought me back.
Yeah, I've seen nobody mention that unless there's like an Easter egg video.
Oh, there probably is. There's a lot of references from Star Wars too.
And
like
what?
other ones in there.
And like I said, that's what boosted my grade up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The Easter eggs were pretty phenomenal.
If they were going to have a cameo in there from any character from a previous Star Wars, it should have been IG-88. My man IG-88 does not get enough love in the Star Wars universe. He was one of the bounty hunters in Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yep.
That would have been funny and very clever.
Because he's hilarious because instead of being L3 very much, I need equal rights and freedom, he is literally just like, kill all humans. He's Killbot.
Right. Yeah, yes. The other thing I read is that they've showed a lot of species of aliens that they haven't referenced since the original trilogy.
Yeah, there were Rhodians in this one.
Yeah. That's pretty exciting.
It's been 3 movies since we've had a Rhodian in these things.
And I don't know why the new movies don't acknowledge these other species.
That's a big bone I gotta pick with these new movies. They're making all new things, and which is fine. You can add all that stuff in. It just expands the universe. But when you are neglecting everything that came before you is kind of a slap in the face.
Right.
Where did they all go? Did all the Rhodians and the Hammerheads just screw off to their own planets and everything? But what are you going to do? You got to get mosquito people and whatever Maz Kanata is.
Right. And I guess that's the big balance. We don't want too much. We don't want it punny. We don't want it ridiculous and force-fed. And we don't want it to be non-existent.
Us Star Wars fans are a picky bunch.
Right. We just want it kind of connected. We just want it to be a cohesive universe.
Yes.
Right?
Which I understand is a very tall order for something as big as Star Wars is. Even when Disney was like, we're condensing the expanded universe, and now it's just the new books and all the movies.
Right.
What did you think about the cinematography in this movie? Because this was not just like tonally dark.
Right.
They're kind of lighthearted and everything. This was a visually just dark film.
And I wonder if that goes back to Lord Miller's gritty version. The color palette is very muted.
Yes.
But, the train heist scene is just so cool.
Yeah.
Just so big.
The two standout scenes in this movie, everything else I felt was kind of forgettable, was the train sequence and the very short sequence when Han Solo says, I want to be a pilot, and then it just smash cuts to 3 years later and they tricked him into becoming a stormtrooper.
Right.
He's just covered in mud and there's explosions. I want to see that movie.
Right.
That looks like it would be the cover for Rogue One, because we've got all these explosions. There's mud everywhere. People are dying left and right, but we only get that for a few minutes.
Right.
And then that's where we meet Chewie.
Right.
After that. And Woody Harrelson, because Woody Harrelson is trying to... What the hell is Woody Harrelson doing there?
He's just being Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, he's just being Woody Harrelson.
he's trying to character in every movie.
He's trying to steal a ship. So for the train heist.
He's just a drunk asshole in every movie. Hunger
Which
Games,
works.
This.
Hunger Games, this, Zombieland.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is probably my favorite version of Woody Harrelson.
Yes, which we're getting a sequel soon. So.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, they're officially bringing back the kids.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about Tandy Newton? Which is very...
I did not know she was in the movie.
You did.
I was very surprised when I saw her.
Like,
show
a
up.
lot of people were like, Tandy Newton's in this, and so everybody kind of thought that she was going to have a huge presence in this movie. And she didn't. She probably had like 10 lines, and then they cut her out.
And she got to get back to the Westworld set.
That's just probably why they're like, Tandy Newton, we want you in Solo, a Star Wars story. Well, I've got a little bit of time between season 1 and season 2 of Westworld.
It would have been mind blowing if, like, it was revealed that she was an android in this movie too. She'd be a robot in both.
That'd be great. I thought you were about to say it's like this was the second version of Westworld, where it's Star Wars World.
Just a bunch of nerds that pay to go to Star Wars World. And
that would have been a better movie.
and screw aliens.
Like Lando.
Yeah, yes.
Which, like, a lot of people, you had to have seen that whole thing about Lando being pansexual.
Yes, that was a big thing this week for sure.
That was the huge thing.
Which he supported, right?
Yeah.
Don Glover supported that opinion.
I think John Kasdan was the first one to say it. But yeah, and he said, yeah, I guess, sure, if you're in space, it wouldn't be just dudes and girls, it'd be robots and aliens and everything.
Right, yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, Captain Kirk was pretty much, well, he was getting down with any female alien he could find.
Yeah.
But man, that whole robot thing was just...
It really got under your skin.
I did not like that character. I was just like, oh, this is terrible.
The robot revolution? Did you like that?
I thought that scene was funny.
I thought that was very George Lucas. Like the robots just boop, 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 and that's the revolution. It's very tame, but it's hilarious.
It did elicit a couple laughs when we just like smash cut back to the console room or the command center, and the robots are like jumping up and down on the consoles.
Yeah.
And just tearing wires out of the walls.
Yeah.
But then that happens, and then L3 runs outside, and we had our happy moment of the robots rebelling, and then she runs out and she's like, I love taking this job, and then she gets murdered.
Yeah.
Like, shot up a billion times, and then Lando goes to save her. Mm-hmm. Because she's his sex bot. I'm still not clear on what she is for Lando. He takes her in, and she's asking, oh, why? What's happening to me? And it's supposed to be this super emotional death scene.
Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be Tony Stark and Spider-Man.
Yeah, there you go. Tony Stark and Spider-Man. And I was just like, well, one, she's a robot. You can just put her in another body. But,
that's true.
But then he's like, we got to dismantle her and put her in the Falcon. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. But while we're on L3, I guess we should talk about the scene where Amelia Clark is talking with L3, and that's when you get the sex discussion between the two of them about L3.
See, I don't remember that.
You don't remember
No.
that? L3 said that, like, I guess Lando was like, I'm going back to the bar. Does anybody want anything? And that's when L3's like, equal rights?
Oh, yeah.
It's that one. And then Amelia Clark comes in, which I don't think Amelia Clark is a very good actress, but...
Oh, no!
Shazam, dropping truth bombs here.
It's a mother dragon you're talking about.
the Breaker Chains and like 37 other titles.
Yeah.
But she comes in and they start talking to each other, and L3 just starts talking about how she thinks about getting with Lando because he's cool and everything, but she's like, that's probably never going to work out, but sometimes it might. And then Amelia Clark's like, it felt like the scene was going on forever. Okay, but it was probably only like a minute. And Amelia Clark asked her, well, how can you, how does that work? A human and a robot? And then she's like, it just does. And then we just cut to another scene. And I'm like,
we're moving on.
Okay. At least we didn't linger there.
You know, the other big surprise for me was Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in the movie. You know,
they killed him in the other movie, so he had time to be in this one.
Yeah, and then he gets to be Mr. Veiny Face.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
Paul Bettany's just good in everything.
Yeah, he was very good in the
He's
movie.
still the best is when he's in A Knight's Tale.
Okay.
William Chaucer. But yeah, he did good. I mean, it's really strange that like he just plays a crime lord with a attitude and a temper. Yeah. And anytime he gets angry, his eyes get red and his whatever face paint or whatever it is glows. And then he just starts shanking people with his double-sided knives. But yeah, he did a good job. I mean,
I was surprised that he was in it, and then I really enjoyed him being, you know, the lackey villain.
Yeah, that's
right. He was intimidating, which, you know, working for Crimson Dawn, which we'll get to in just a second. If this, you know, if this conversation was visual, we'd still be sitting here with our hoods on. We're about to take that hood off
and reveal our true identities.
But I thought he did great, and you know, I loved him as Vision, so I was excited to see him again.
Yeah, no, he did a good job. He was one of the best. Him and Woody Harrelson, just because they're just good actors.
Yeah, they're just seasoned.
Yeah, just they've been through the ropes and they know what's going on.
Yeah,
and so they have their roles that they kind of fall into. Because Paul Bettany has his I'm calm, but I have a little bit of an eccentric bit to me. That he's basically that character.
But I thought he was scary when he got
angry. Yeah. He got his roid rage or whatever was going on with him.
He just had roids in his face, apparently.
But like the whole plot of Solo: A Star Wars Story revolves around them getting hyperdrive fuel, which I didn't know was a thing.
Right.
But I guess it is. I thought it was just we had fuel.
Right.
And the hyperdrive was just another thing, but okay.
Do you like that aspect of it?
I did not like the fact that The Last Jedi was all about them running out of fuel, and then I got another movie where it was all about fuel in this one.
Hey, but that's what makes the world go round, right?
I guess so. Maybe it's a commentary about America and greedy corporate blah, blah, blah.
That would have made more sense in the 70s version when there's gas shortages.
It would have, yeah.
With where that's coming
Damn it, Charlie, gas prices are $3 a gallon.
Yeah, here. Yeah, I didn't even connect that the last two Star Wars movies have been about fuel. It's a little insane.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's trying to make a commentary about the Middle East and blah, 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 blah. Maybe, I don't know.
Right.
It's like, I didn't even think about that. It could be, but I'm still going to say that's giving them too much credit there at Star Wars and LucasArts and everything. But this movie, well, I guess we can... Do you want to talk about, like, the end? Because I didn't know what the hell was happening at the end. People were double-crossing, triple-crossing each other at the end. It got to the point where I was sitting there going, okay, who won this? Who's on top?
Well, and both of us were very tired when we saw it. And it did get a little crazy. I didn't understand how her getting the hyperdrive fuel fed the rebellion.
Oh,
that was the big hint, that they were the start of the rebellion.
Yeah, we hadn't even... Because and all the different iterations of the rebellion getting started, because, like, certain ones were where Darth Vader had a hand in the rebellion getting started. It was Leia, and I don't know where we're at with all this.
And then you got frizzy-haired...
Yeah, frizzy-haired, gingery kind of looking girl.
Yeah.
Which, we didn't even talk about them. She's kind of the...
I
really
love that twist, though. That's like one of the reasons where, like, you know, after really going through all of it, when that started happening, that's when I was like, okay, this movie is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it didn't ramp up until, like, maybe...
When she revealed herself,
half,
probably.
Yeah.
Freckle, crimpy hair girl.
But what the hell were they called? Infantis something?
I don't even know.
The Bandits. We'll just call them the Bandits.
Yeah. But, you know, at first you were like, oh, they're one of the bad guys for sure.
Yeah.
In a movie lacking bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
When it turned out they were the good guys and Mother Dragon's the bad guy. And Roid Face and
Woody Harrelson.
Dawn. Yeah, everybody was a bad guy.
Everybody's a bad guy.
Yeah, except for the ones you thought were the bad guys.
Yes.
So that's pretty good, I think. That was a pretty good...
Just a good flip.
Yeah. I got Shyamalan a little bit.
Where's he? I want to see a Star Wars movie by him.
Yeah,
it was all a dream.
Why not? Let's dig him out too.
Episode 9, directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Dude, he might save it.
Yeah, he might. Yeah. I remember when I was in film school, there was a petition to send M. Night Shyamalan back to film school. Because that was at the point where he's making stuff like The Last Airbender and Lady in the Water, so where he was making the bad ones. But
yeah, he's the poor man's Guillermo del Toro.
Getting all those twists.
Yeah. He does, like, you know, a complete Shape of Water, black creature from the Black Lagoon, like, turns that into Oscar Gold, and then Shyamalan makes... There's a mermaid in the swimming pool at the hotel.
And
everyone...
Paul Giamatti is there like, she's living in the pool.
And he ruins his career.
Oh, M. Night, what happened? But anyways, Star Wars, getting back to that was the... Being so confused on who's working with who and what's happening at the end. Usually a twist is like... Maybe if you want to do a double twist or something, is fine. But when you have like quadruple axle 57 twists in here.
See, I don't think it was. I thought it was good.
Because like, how did Han know that like he brings in the fake fuel, which was actually, it was the real fuel.
Right.
But he knew that Woody Harrelson was going to come in to like hijack the place and take the real fuel. So
they Princess Brided it.
Oh, man.
With the poisons, you know?
Oh, God. Amazing scene, by the way, in Princess Bride.
Right. And done better in The Princess Bride.
Yes, very much so. Wesley's got some moves.
No, I that's one of the saving graces.
Was the end with the switcheroo?
And then revealing that Emilia Clarke was...
I'm
glad they made her a bad guy.
Yeah, because her whole thing was that Han wanted to go back to Corellia to save her, but she had gotten off of the planet right after him or something like that and got involved in some weird crime syndicate with the Red Dawn. Crimson Dawn.
Yeah, she never wants to talk about it.
No,
and they never do talk about it.
No.
And then Paul Bettany even mentions it. And here's a dating tip. If you are ever dating a woman and she keeps saying that kind of stuff, don't lock that down, okay, guys?
Because she's evil and she works for a crime syndicate.
No, because she's done some really bad things that apparently we can't talk about in a PG-13 movie.
Oh, goodness.
So don't run away from that.
Because, yeah, and then she kills... Does she kill Paul Bettany, or was it Han who shot the last...
No, she kills him.
She killed him. Yeah. She had the sword, and he had his little
She's making her way up
daggers.
Yep. Which brings us to our boss, Crimson Dawn, who is...
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul.
Which is going to be super confusing. Were you confused by that?
Yeah, because I didn't know if he was just like a part of that species, or I didn't know if he was the actual Darth Maul.
Uh-huh.
So to read that Ray Park came back to play him.
And I was surprised that it was Ray Park, too.
Yeah, me too.
Because it didn't look... I don't think it was the same guy who did his voice.
No, because the guy that did his voice on Clone Wars, the animated series.
Yeah, is another guy.
Did his voice in the movie.
Oh.
So Ray Park was him, and then the guy from the animated series did his voice. Yeah, right? It didn't even look like him.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, I was like, okay, I understand that that's Darth Maul. It's the same paintings. I know he's got the robot legs and everything, which I'm going to explain to you here in a second.
Okay.
But he didn't look the same. He didn't sound the same. And seeing him in there, I was like, when I first saw him, at first I was like, oh, God, your reveal was so stupid.
No, see, I liked it.
This. And then instantly I was like, this is going to confuse the hell out of a lot of people.
Well, especially like fair weather Star Wars fans like me. Not you're tried and true.
With the
I'm
TV
fair weather.
show. Because, like, Darth Maul his arc came to a close in the newest Star Wars TV show.
Okay.
His whole arc, for whatever reason, he gets chopped in half by Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first Star Wars movie.
Right.
Falls down that thing. Everybody's like, he's dead. But then he shows back up in Star Wars The Clone Wars, the TV show, a couple seasons in, and he has robot spider legs. And he's crazy.
What?
And he's on a different planet.
So he's like that creepy baby face thing from Toy Story?
Yeah.
He's like...
Exactly. Yeah. He's like, I'm insane now. And now I want to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's his whole arc, is a revenge arc. I want to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So he's like a Phase 1 Marvel villain.
It's,
really bad motivation.
And like, people are like, oh, you gotta watch Rebels. His arc is really great and everything. And I kind of got to Rebels, and I watched maybe like 5 episodes of the first season. I was like, I don't need this one.
Right.
I'll just watch the highlights. And his arc was some of the highlights. And it's so weird. He gets his robot spider legs, and then he gets really weird robot crazy legs, and then he gets regular human style legs.
Okay.
And him saying, meet me on Dathomir is... Yeah, you're making that face. Charlie just grimaced at this. He doesn't know what the hell that is. That is the place where he was made, I believe. Or that was, the Dathomir witches or something like that. That's Asajj Ventress, which is a whole nother character that you don't know anything about.
See, this is what I'm talking about. He knows way more.
But this is the thing, is if you didn't know any of that stuff, maybe you would be like, wow, that's Darth Maul. Wait a second, how did he get back? And then you go educate yourself like Wikipedia or something like that.
Right.
But
which is fun. But for us to sit there and be like, is that supposed to be Darth Maul?
Yeah.
That's not a good way to,
it's not good. And the reveal was tacky as far as I'm concerned. Cause like you saw his face, he's in a hologram, which traditionally the holograms only do blue and light blue for the colors. So why the hell could we see red in this? He raises up his head and he's got the hood on. He takes the hood off and it's Darth Maul. And then he's like, in case you didn't know I'm Darth Maul, here's my lightsaber. And he does that when the conversation is over.
Right.
For what reason? I don't know.
He's
for
gotta
us.
Fight.
Yeah,
he's like, I gotta run, I gotta go fight some dudes.
Yeah, well, no, because he turns it on. He turns on one blade of the lightsaber, turns on the second one, and then turns them both off and puts the lightsaber away. And I'm like, oh my God. And this gets into a problem where these Star Wars movies are treating me like I'm an asshole. And I'm stupid, and I don't know anything about this.
Right.
Because they should have done this classy, where he's rim lit and all you see is black. You can see him sitting there. He's all hooded up and everything, and just raises up his head just enough so I can see the outline of his nose and his chin, just to see a little bit of paint.
Right.
That would have been way better. Enough.
Yeah, because then fair weather fans like myself would be like, who was that dude? And then I go on and I look at Google and they say Darth Maul, and then I giggle like a little girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, it was him.
It would be exciting.
Yeah. And it was learn more about it.
And it was the same thing. Just get onto Rogue One conversation really quick. Treating me like I'm an idiot and I don't know what's happening because for some reason I don't know film.
Right.
That scene when Donnie Yen, through the whole movie, he's had that mantra, I am one with the Force is with me. I'm one with the Force. He has that. At the very end, when they're in that bunker doorway and they're getting shot at, and they're like, we got to get over to that console to do the thing. And Donnie Yen gets in, he's like, I am one with, which he closes his eyes, which he's blind. I don't understand why he's got to do it. But he starts saying his mantra, and he just keeps saying his mantra. And then he gets over and turns off the like shield generator or something like that. And then he gets killed. And it's like, I understand that he's one with the Force. Right. And what's happening is all of a sudden he comes out and then they just can't shoot him because of the Force. I understand this.
Right.
Because I'm an intelligent moviegoer.
Right.
They didn't have to slap me around with him saying, I'm one with the Force is with me. All they had to do was have him close his eyes for whatever reason, grip his little staff, and have the music like Binary Sunset or Tales of the Force is actually the better one when Obi-Wan is telling Luke Skywalker in A New Hope. Like, I even know the music. When he's telling Luke Skywalker in The New Hope that he's a Jedi, here's a lightsaber. If you have that music, just the rise of that music, just a little bit, you don't have to tell me that this is what's happening with this character. I'm smart enough to understand this. And it felt so much like that with this Darth Maul thing when he whips out his lightsaber and just shows it to everybody. In case you didn't know, I still have my lightsaber.
And you said... was that your point that they're trying to do Marvel universe building?
Yes,
by bringing Darth Maul into it?
By bringing Darth Maul into it, because we're gonna get a Darth Maul movie now.
Right.
And we already know we're getting a Boba Fett movie now. Because we're...
Maybe.
Well, they said
this.
yeah. Well, Alden has been signed on for 3 movies.
I bet they might be ripping up his contract.
Yeah, they're like, here's some money, get out of here.
Yeah.
It's true, because like this, with the way it's going and everything, like they whipped out the Disney timeline, the Disney Star Wars timeline, just like Marvel did, and I think there's kind of a competition going on between Marvel and Star Wars, because they're like, oh yeah, well you've got your movies planned out till like 2100. Here's our movies. They put out their timeline where they're like, here's all the movies that we don't know any names of, but they'll come out these times. Right. It's like Han Solo, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan.
And they can't name a single person that is developing the storyline of all that.
No.
They're just like, they're doing the DCU. Yeah. Like, it's just, we got movies. We got
the movies coming out. Screw you. You'll go see them.
Where Kevin Feige's like, I know everything that's going to happen.
I have known about these things forever. I've done the planning, and I was probably a fan of it and everything. That's the thing. Kevin Feige is like George Lucas for Marvel right now. And
way smarter, too, than Kevin or George Lucas.
Star Wars doesn't have a George Lucas or a Kevin Feige
Nobody
right now.
Does. Nobody does. The DCU doesn't.
God, and DC's trying to play catch up, and that's the biggest problem.
They're going to lose again. They're making a Birds of Prey, or what is that called? They're doing the Sirens movie. All of it sounds bad. All of the Star Wars movies sound bad.
It's... You'd think that this would be the geek renaissance right now. Star Wars, DC, Marvel, you've got all these, and TV is just flush with all this stuff.
And have you ever seen comments of any Marvel fans pissed at what Marvel's producing? No, they're like, this is great. All the Star Wars fans are pissed. All the DC fans are pissed. They don't want to admit they're pissed just
because they just want more movies.
Yeah, they want more movies, and they don't want to admit that Marvel's way better. But
yeah.
Ooh, that's a hot debate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on.
They're only they don't have a Dark Knight, though.
That's right.
Just saying. It's still the best movie, and I will come out and I will say that. I will defend that until the day I die.
Well, as much as we've talked about Marvel on this podcast, Batman is my all-time favorite.
Same here.
Say that. So we're getting close, but to go towards the end here, I've seen a lot of definitive Star Wars ranked lists of the 10 movies that exist now. Where would you put Solo?
I would put Solo below the prequels.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and people are going to get pissed about that. Because I would put my top favorite, and also people are going to get pissed about this one too, is Return of the Jedi. I would actually put them in reverse order, which actually is kind of strange because it kind of flipped from when I was a kid. When I was a kid, it used to be A New Hope, Empire, Jedi. Right. But now it's Return of the Jedi, Empire, A New Hope, Revenge. It actually goes in complete opposite order. And then Revenge of the Sith, Clone Wars, Phantom Menace, Rogue One, probably Han Solo below Rogue One. just because it's a non-offensive movie on any level, really.
Yeah.
Except for minor gripes. And then Force Awakens, and then that trash movie, The Last Jedi.
Okay. Yeah. The Last Jedi would...
But it's got like a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. How could it be bad, Charlie?
You said within your chunk, it would be New Hope, Empire Strikes, Return of the Jedi?
It would be Return of the Jedi, Empire, New Hope.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi would be your top.
Yeah.
I would go with the original trilogy, I'd go in the order of the trilogy.
Yeah, okay.
Because I agree with that. And you and I were talking before we started that I love Ewoks, and
yeah, I know, right?
They are no Jar Jar Binks, so they were a lot of fun.
Speaking of Ewoks, Warwick Davis was in this one too.
Yes, reprising his role from Phantom Menace, I believe, which is pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, it's the same title of the character.
Oh shit! I didn't even know that.
yeah. But I would put Rogue One and Solo above all the prequels.
Yes. Well, really?
Yeah.
Hey.
I really liked Rogue One. I really liked it. Like, it was just a fun movie. Mm-hmm. It was intense.
It's just because that Darth Vader scene.
Well, I mean, that was badass too, but we got a space battle, which they didn't do in Force Awakens. Mm-hmm. So, like, you were like, oh yeah, they can fight in space too.
Yeah, the space battle in Rogue One was
epic.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. So yeah, Last Jedi's down there probably with the prequels.
It's in the dregs for you.
It'd be like Revenge of the Sith and The Last Jedi fighting for the position right over Clone Wars and Phantom Menace. But yeah, I'd put Rogue One and Solo over Last Jedi and the prequels. Mm. Which, yeah, I don't know. I appreciate it. I really like Rogue One. And I love the nostalgia of Force Awakens.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So I don't know. It's kind of muddled there. I don't have a definitive list. But we want to see your definitive lists.
Down in the comments below.
Right. That's right. And any thoughts you might have about Solo, a Star Wars story. And maybe any other ideas you have about what you'd like to see from the Star Wars universe. Not that Disney or Kathleen Kennedy is going to listen to you.
Is going to listen to you,
but we will.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. What are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts is that this story kind of really undermines Han Solo's arc in A New Hope. Because in that one, he was, I'm the cocksure pilot who's just out for myself. And then he has to learn that he's going to help him at the very end. This one was, I'm the cocksure wannabe pilot guy and everything, and at the very end I'm actually a good guy because I'm gonna give you the stuff.
Right.
So what the hell? He's not. It really should have been flipped. He should have been like, I'm the good guy and everything in this, and then Kira leaving and Emilia Clarke leaving should have made him a total ass. He should have been like, no, I'm not going to give you this hyperdrive fuel. I'm going to take it for myself.
Yeah, you see him become jaded.
Yes.
That would be cool. I agree with that.
But yeah, it's an utterly forgettable movie that we spent some money on and a couple hours, and now we're doing a podcast on, and I'm probably never going to see it again.
And I guess on the fair weather Star Wars fan flip side, I think it is a fun summer movie that is forgettable, but worth probably checking out in the theaters with a group of people. So yeah, there you go.
That's
Solo, a Star Wars story.
Solo, a Solo, a box office blunder story.
There you go. Well, this is Red signing off.
That's me.
And Chub 2 Thorax. And hopefully we'll be checking in with you soon.
See you later, everybody.
Bye.